if you study Shastar Vidya, the young man has been studying now, on one hand, exposed to the culture, the history, the traditions, and the exposure is done in a super intelligent way. So even if I get students I get Arabs from Egypt, I get Africans, I get Chinese, I get Japanese, and so on. And before them, like anybody, like we can't be ashamed of our culture, our history, our traditions, and so on. And so no matter what their culture, what their history, tradition, we respect that. But they also have to respect our culture, our history, our traditions as well. We're not against theirs, and there's no reason why they should be against ours. Like, so when the root of all Dharma is compassion, they shouldn't be there. Like, so in that sense, this also bridges people across what's called cultures and histories and traditions and so on. So whereas someone like in Europe and so on, they may just want the fighting techniques, and they get exposed to Indian culture, history. So that sense is soft power around the world. So those people thinking, oh, Indians are just nerds. Now they're thinking, hang on a minute, they're not just nerds. I mean, I heard people say that Indians are nerds, and even their martial art, the Shastar Vidya, is nerdy as well, because it's intelligent. It's not just stupid. So that's a compliment in that sense of the word. And so we're exposing the rest of the world to our culture. So if you look at now China and Japan, and look at Japan with the samurai, everybody knows about samurai. Chinese with the kung fu and so on. The image that comes across with that. And then with India is Kshatriya. And the sad thing is, like, a lot of the older Chinese and Japanese, they trace their martial arts back to India. That's it. So the Kshatriyas, so this is there, but our martial arts are not known, traditions are not known, because a lot of our martial arts in this country. So this Kshatriya tradition of ours is what's lacking in Bharat now, really. So, like I said, with Birju Maharaj and all that, they revived all the Kathak dancing, others revived Bharatiya Natam. Gurukuls are now appearing as well. Like one time, Gurukuls had Shastar Vidya inside them as well, like taught.
It was a part of it.
Yeah, part of it. Like, and I mean, Guru Gobind Singh gives a beautiful description in his Gyan Prabodh, where he talks about an ancient Gurukul. And he talks about they're learning linguistics, they're learning what you call music, they're learning Vedantic science, and they're learning all forms of martial arts, tradition, Shastar Vidya, and so on. So it's a complete system they're learning. But it was all framed within dharmic understanding, because they're producing people of moral character. Like, they don't want to produce a bunch of assholes. Like, and with Shastar Vidya, because we're teaching you lethal skills. Okay, so obviously, with little children, we teach kids, like small children, 5 to 7, the skills that are taught them are those skills that will prevent them from being bullied at school. So we teach them nothing offensive, because we don't want we don't want children hurting children. When it comes to teenagers, we teach them offensive techniques, but nothing lethal, for obvious reasons. We don't want them in prison. But it depends. And then when it comes to males, when it comes to adults, then for males and females, techniques are taught which will cover self-defense that you can practically use now, and then also the classical stuff, which even the classical techniques of moving in a stabilized manner and fighting, which can be utilized for modern day firearms with the army and the military, I still teach today. So even soldiers and modern day army and what's called police can take advantage of this as well. So the art is super sophisticated. If you just go onto the testimonials on the app, it's not point me blowing my own trumpet, like, you can hear people who have experienced this art and who are martial arts experts and so on. We have a beautiful, powerful culture, like Sanatan culture, and if you were to go into the depths of it, it's rich beyond measure and so on. And Sanatan Vidya, Shastar Vidya, as I say, is a Upaved, is a knowledge about Upaved. We have the 4 Veds, the Rig Ved and so on, Yajurved, Samved, which are the anchor, the cornerstone of our spiritual traditions and so on. Viddham and Namuttam says Gurbani as well. Like, so then we have 4 Upaveds, which are the cornerstone of our what you call culture, like how to build our cities, music, our dancing, everything else, and then Shastar Vidya as well. Shastar Vidya should not be just viewed as something that teaches you how to wield a sword or knife, unarmed combat, how to shoot guns, all this and so on. It's more than that. Shastar Vidya will make you into what we will, Nihangs, we say, Lo Purush. The word Lo means iron, it means steel, it also means light, it also means enlightened. So you're become enlightened warrior, a Kshatriya. You become what we term as a Sajjan Sura. Sajjan Sura, a noble warrior. That's what it's meant to be there. And is the style called Dubda Mare So Sura. He who kills his sense of duality is the warrior like. So Shatur there is all about annihilating duality because we are Advait. And even in the physical expression of the art, that's what we're trying to do. Every movement comes from a neutral state and then one. And then the one becomes the infinite and so on. Just like in Vedanta, from the Shunne, the void, one, and then so on. Mahashunte Utpan Meri, says Guru Gobind Singh. I have emerged from the great Shunne. And the Vidya emerges from the great Shunne as well. So in that sense, you are present when young men or young women, and not even young, old, because the Vidya is not muscle-based, it's not athletic-based. Your fast twitch muscles that sprinters and boxers and others use, they fade away by the age of 25. They start going less. Your slow twitch muscles, which marathon runners and say rowers use, they are do about 45. They're going. We bypass. Our Rishi Munis understood how to bypass both fast twitch and slow twitch. As a consequence, my speed is not going to be compromised because I'm not moving with those fast twitch muscles. My stamina is not going to be compromised because I'm not using those slow twitch muscles, and I can carry on to a very good old age. And if you look at in our traditions, Bhushan, Dronachar, Baba Deep Singh, Natha Singh in the Sikh tradition, they were elderly warriors. Baba Ram Singh Bedi, 90-year-old, he's still able to fight. So this Vidya offers, in terms of health, in terms of connecting with culture, history, philosophy, and in terms of pride. The pride that young people feel that in their culture, history, and it's not a false pride, not an egoistical pride, in the sense that we're superior to them and this, because that's all Ravaniti again. No. Ram is humble, is humility like. So as a consequence, Ram Di Vidya, as we're talking about, is a powerful Vidya that is imbued with all that is, I can say, beautiful and worthy in Indian culture and so on. So when people come and study with me, we look at them. I mean, if they just want to be fighters, I'm not really that much interested in them. If they want to be just what's called a bit of health and all, that's fine, but all right. But at the end of the day, this is almost like a blood transfusion. The Kshatriya element that for so long was banned by the British when they came in. And then with the independence, the emphasis became on non-violence and so on. Hence China invaded and took the land.
We lost our protectors.
Yeah, lost our protectors. The Kshatris and the Kshatris for a long time were misunderstood. I mean, if I remember correctly, and I mean, some people say it's not his quote, but they say Gandhi said he spoke of Pullar Desh Bhakt, Pulle Hue, misguided, that's called Bhakts of the nation. And thus were described people like Guru Gobind Singh, Rana Pratap, Shivaji Marathe, and so on. They were not pulled. They were on the correct path, and so on. To live a life of pure freedom and happiness, you need to have strength. Okay, you need to have what's called bahubal. Ko kisko raj na de hai, jo le hai nij bal se le hai. That's Guru Gobind Singh said that. No one's going to give you a kingdom, and no one, you got to with your own power So on Dharma bin sab chale it's called Raj bin Dharma na chale hai. Dharma bin sab chale male hai. Ko kisko raj na de hai, jo le hai nij bal se le hai. So Guru Gobind Singh spoke of this all those centuries ago, that Dharma bin Raj na chale hai, that you need Dharma in order for a kingdom to flourish. There needs to be morals and ethics and principles of justice and compassion and so on. We need Dharma. And so Guru Raj ne spoke of Hilmi Raj. Koi pehna kise rajan da ye hua Hilmi Raj. When no one fears no one, and people live in a compassionate, intelligent kingdom. But in order to have that kind of kingdom, Dharma bin Raj dale, to have the Raj, ko kisko, no one's going to give you a kingdom oh, you got to get with Nijbal. So you got to take it with Nijbal, which we did by driving the British and so on out. So with Nijbal now, we need to hold on to it as well. So look at all the forces around the world who are trying to dismantle this nation and so on. And as India climbs up,
The forces will try even more.
they're going to try more and more. And the best way they can do this is by creating splits within your own ranks and so on. Because there's always people who can be bought and sold. And there's always people who are stupid, who don't understand the bigger game, what the enemies are trying to do. So this is happening. It's like the Khastanis in the Sikh world, like, and their numbers are very small, but they're very boisterous. They intimidate anybody else, but they are completely on the wrong path. Guru Gobind Singh at no point spoke about Punjab, he spoke about Madhya. At no point Guru Gobind Singh spoke about he spoke about Sagal Hind in all his writings and so on. So, and his Panj Pyare came from all over India, so that means he had appeal for all of India. And this is the whole idea, like and then clearly he states in Sablu Granth, Sanatan Meri Prabh Safal, like make my Sanatan Dharma successful. Like, so the endeavors of this Shastar Vidya is to make that Sanatan Dharma successful, and successful in the sense that Dharma is called is above all else. So without your Dharma, like, you are nothing, and so on. So if your morals and ethics and such are compromised, so there is the foundation of Dharma. So even Shastar I teach is aggressive, and it can be, but it's not that kind of, it's efficient in terms of dealing with what it needs to deal with, but it is ultimately grantor of peace. Hinsa dharma tago, kima dharma rago. So it gives you peace and contentment of mind, body, spirit. There's a beautiful quote that we're using from the Rig Veda. Okay, so the ancient masters in the Sanatan world, in the Sikh world, they go, this particular quote is in Rig Veda, is verse 10, 191.4. Okay, so that's where it is. And in this beautiful verse, it so sums up everything that we want. So when people nowadays say, look, there's no such thing as an Indian nation. The whole Khaistan said this. They'll say, oh, there's no such thing as Indian nation. Indian nation only came about when the British came about. But the self-identity of Indians as being a distinct Sanatan culture or a particular culture is old as the Rig Veda.
Yes.
And that means from the beginnings of time. They all understood. And in this beautiful verse, I'll give it in English here, like, you can easily look up the English verse, the Sanskrit, like I said, look up the verse, which is 10.191.4, like, okay? And look it up. So all those people when people say like, oh, the Indian nation has never been a nation, blah, 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 normally I give them the quote, then I slap them in the head, like, because that's what Kshatriyas can do as well, like. So he says, this is the translation. He says, let your aims be common and your hearts of one accord, and all of you be of one mind, so you may live well together. If that's not a call to nationhood, what is like? Think about it. And that's the Rig Veda. That's from the beginnings of time. You can't get more Sanatan than the Rig Veda. Like. So the app that we have is being created by a company called Buddhabari, the Ocean of Wisdom, and that is its motto, like, we're using.